Further evidence.
Yes, Your Honor. At this time, the defense calls Taylor Strombaum to the stand.
Objection, Your Honor. To lack of foundation and under Rule 615. We ask that opposing counsel take down this demonstrative because Ms. Strombaum hasn't testified about the heights, the handedness, or the limbs of anyone in this case.
Your Honor, first of all, she's about to testify to that for both Skylar Sinclair and Alex Everett. Secondly, we're happy to move the demonstrative so that the information currently on it isn't visible to the witness, so it's only visible to the jury.
Well, why don't you just take it down and you can put it up when it becomes appropriate.
Yes, Your Honor.
All right, you may proceed.
Good afternoon, ma'am. Can you introduce yourself to the members of the jury?
Hi, I'm Taylor Strombaum.
Are you a student, miss?
Yeah, I go to Midland State University.
What do you study?
I'm an art major. I study all sorts of things, dance painting, calligraphy, post-colonial paper mache. Right now I'm doing a lot of performance art. Like this morning I super glued my fingers together. I wanted to say something about the constraints on women's bodies on college campuses. It's been much more difficult than anticipated. Driving here was a bit of a challenge, getting the key in, turning it.
Let's just talk about your role as a student at Midland State University, okay? Do you know Skylar Sinclair?
Sure, I know Skylar. She's on the softball team with me.
Are you close with her?
Not particularly. I mean, we do the same things, but we're not very close.
Miss, do you know why we've called you in to testify today?
Yeah, I saw Skylar the night that they're saying she killed somebody.
Miss, before we get to that, I want to talk about some of the differences between Skylar and someone named Alex Everett. Do you know Alex Everett?
Sure, yeah.
How do you know her?
She's on the softball team too. She's one of our top players.
What's your role on the softball team?
Well, I used to play too. But then I got suspended from the league. I tried to stage a protest in the outfield, spray painted the whole thing. It was amazing. But now they won't let me on the field anymore. So I'm the stats manager.
Ma'am, you say Alex Everett is one of the top players on the team. Can you be more specific? What makes her good?
Sure. I mean, she's a natural athlete. She's really fast, she's tall, she's strong. They call her Alex the Tank for a reason. I mean, she's a real slugger.
Ma'am, you said Alex Everett is tall. Do you know exactly how
Objection.
tall she is?
Under Rule 615, I ask they not show this demonstrative to the witness.
Your Honor, we're happy to position it so that it is only facing the members of the jury and not the witness.
All right, go ahead and do that.
Is this okay with all of you? Ma'am, you were telling us how tall Alex Everett is.
Yeah, she's 6 foot, 6 foot even.
What about Skylar Sinclair? Is she that tall?
No, she's a bit shorter, 5'9".
How sure are you about those heights, ma'am?
Positive, I see him on the roster every day.
You say Alex Everett's really good at softball. What about Skylar Sinclair? Is she good?
Well, I mean, she's really nice. She adds a lot to the team,
Ma'am,
you know?
is she good at softball?
No. Sorry.
Is she strong, ma'am?
No.
Is she accurate when she swings?
No, mostly just swing and a miss.
What's her role on the softball team?
She mostly warms the bench next to me.
Objection. Relevance as to Skylar Sinclair's role on the softball team.
Sustained.
Ma'am, I want to ask you something about Alex and Skylar. Do you remember if Alex was playing softball around the time of the murder in March?
No, she wasn't. She tore her ACL back in January. She was on crutches for a couple of months, and then around beginning of March, she got them off, was just limping about.
How sure are you Alex Everett had a limp?
Positive. It's the reason we didn't make the playoffs. We had to bring Helen up. Helen is terrible.
Do you remember if Skylar Sinclair had a limp during that time?
No, she didn't.
And Miss, when you see Alex Everett swing the softball bat, does she swing right-handed or left-handed?
Alex swings from the right.
What about Skylar?
Skylar's a lefty. Oh, we were actually really excited about it. When she tried out, we didn't have any lefties. Lefties confused pitchers. And then we saw her play. That was a real disappointment to the whole statistics
Objection.
team, which is me.
Sustained.
Relevance.
Sustained.
Miss, one last thing I want to ask you about softball. I'm showing you a copy of what's been entered into evidence as State's Exhibit 4, I believe. It's a picture of a softball bat. Do you recognize this?
Yeah, that's Alex's bat.
How do you know it belongs to Alex Everett?
Well, she'd bring it to practice with her every day, and she wouldn't let anybody else touch it. It's her lucky bat.
Have you ever seen Skylar Sinclair touching that bat?
No, like I said, Alex wouldn't let her.
Miss, let's talk about the night of March 18th. Where were you that evening?
I was at a concert for a class.
What type of concert?
It was a sitar concert. I'm taking this class, Music in Midlands, like profiles of local musicians. There are a lot of sitar players in Midlands, I guess. It was my second sitar concert of the semester.
When was that? From what time to what time?
8 o'clock to 10:30 p.m.
Is Skylar Sinclair in that class?
Yeah, she's in it.
Miss, this is very important. Did you see Skylar at the concert that evening?
Yeah, I saw her at the end.
What was she doing?
She was signing in. She was signing in on the sign-in sheet. You got to sign in, tell the teacher you attended, otherwise you get marked down.
How did you know it was her?
I saw her face. I remember especially because I copied the style of her signature.
What do you mean?
I'm taking this calligraphy class, one of her exercises, tracing people's scripts. I was practicing outside of class. I'm very committed to my studies, and I saw her name. I liked the way she did her S's, so I wrote my name the same way. I remember it.
Miss, how sure are you that the style of the signature you copied was Skylar Sinclair's?
Positive. I saw her write it.
What time was this?
10:30 p.m.
10:30 exactly? Are you sure?
Positive. I thought the concert was going to be an hour long. Then 9 o'clock there was an intermission. I was ready to go home. Then they go, no, go back to your seats. I was counting down the minutes. It was a Friday night.
Miss, how sure are you that the person you saw signing in at 10:30 p.m. was Skylar Sinclair?
Positive. I saw her. It was her.
Thank you. Nothing further. Would you like me to keep the demonstrative up or take it down?
You can take it down. And before I start my cross-examination, can I set up an enlargement of our own?
In a moment, let's just work with one demonstrative at a time.
Yes, Your Honor.
Yes, sir, go ahead.
Ms. Strombaum, can you see the white space on this board all right?
Yeah, if I scooch forward a bit, I can see the whole thing. Yep.
Great.
Yeah.
I want to start by talking about 3 things that you know about the defendant.
Sure.
First, you know the defendant has a silver Honda, right?
Yeah.
A silver Honda with the license plate MSU Boss.
Yep, that's her car.
Second, you know the defendant has a roommate named Alex Everett, right?
Right, Skylar and Alex, they live together.
But Ms. Strombaum, you never seen Alex Everett drive that silver Honda, have you?
No, Skylar usually drives us back and forth to practice.
But you do know that Alex Everett owns an orange softball bat, right?
Right, yep.
An orange softball bat that she keeps in the defendant's car.
Right. Alex stores her bat there, go back and forth to practice. I do the same.
And third, ma'am, you know that the defendant owns a black ski mask.
I saw her wearing one once, yeah?
That's right, you actually saw the defendant wearing a black ski mask on Friday, March 11th, right?
Right, there was a cops and robbers party. Skylar came as a robber, Alex came as a cop. They're a little pair. Yeah.
So then let's talk about your relationship with the defendant. Now, Ms. Strombaum, you didn't tell us this earlier, but you're actually in the same social organization, right?
Right, it's sort of like an academic honors society. It's called Mu Tau, with dinners, debates. When they let me, I put on performances.
Ma'am, when you joined Mu Tau, the defendant was your pledge parent, wasn't she?
Right, yeah.
You've been to the defendant's apartment.
Sure?
You even sit next to her in class when you can.
Sometimes, yeah.
Ms. Strombaum, I want to talk about your story of where the defendant was on March 18th.
Okay.
I'm approaching opposing counsel with a document that's been marked for identification as Exhibit 10. I'm approaching the witness with the same.
Thanks.
Would Your Honor like a copy?
Sure. Thank you.
Ms. Strombaum, I've just handed you the sign-in sheet that you mentioned earlier, right?
This looks like it, yeah.
It looks to be in the same condition as when you last saw it, right?
Well, except for all the other names. I mean, those weren't there when I signed in, but I signed in at the beginning.
Well, ma'am, you last saw this when you were preparing your affidavit, right?
Oh, yeah, they showed it to me again.
All the signatures were there when you made your affidavit.
I think so, yeah.
So it looks to be in the same condition as when you last saw it.
Yeah.
Your Honor, we offer Exhibit 10.
Your Honor, we just ask that the court constructively redact all the signatures after Ms. Strombaum's, because as she just testified, she didn't see any of those individuals signing in, and when she saw the sign-in sheet that evening, those names weren't there.
Your Honor, that's perfectly fine with us, and we'll also constructively redact the enlargement of Exhibit 10.
Very well. It's admitted with that stipulation.
May I turn around in enlargement?
Any objection to this?
No objection, Your
All
Honor.
right, go ahead.
Ms. Strombaum, you'd agree that here on this board on your left, well, that's a larger version of the document you're holding, right?
Yeah.
And on your right, well, that's an even larger version of two of the names on that sign-in sheet.
Right, Skylar's signature and then mine.
On the bottom, that's your name, right? Taylor Strombaum.
That's right.
So you'd agree you're the one who wrote this capital S in Strombaum.
Right?
I'd like you to take a look at this capital S directly above it in Sinclair.
Okay.
Ma'am, you understand that it's against the law to lie in court, right?
Yes, sir.
And you know that you're under oath today.
I do.
Just so we're clear, it's your testimony that someone other than you wrote this capital S in Sinclair?
Yeah, Skylar signed in like that.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right,
Brief redirect, Your Honor.
you may.
Ms. Strombaum, why do those signatures, those S's, look similar?
Because I tried to copy it, you know. I think I did a pretty good job. Like, the end loop there, same. I don't know if it's gallery quality. I don't know if I'd turn it in for an assignment, but I think I did a pretty good job.
Ma'am, one last thing I want to ask you. Counsel asked you about Skylar Sinclair's car, a silver Honda. Is that what you said it was?
Yeah.
Have you ever seen Alex Everett access that car?
Sure, all the time. To put it back in, take it out.
Thank you, miss. Nothing further.
All right, ma'am, thank you. Step down.
Your Honor, I actually have a recross.
All right, go ahead.
Ms. Strombaum, you just said that you tried to copy Skylar's signature. Is that right?
Well, copy the style, yeah.
Do you remember making an affidavit for today's case?
I do.
You remember the attorneys telling you that you had to be complete in that affidavit,
I do.
that you had to be truthful, right?
Yes, sir.
I'm approaching opposing counsel with what purports to be Ms. Strombaum's affidavit. I'm approaching the witness with the same. Would Your Honor like a copy?
Please.
Ms. Strombaum, you'd agree. The document I've just handed you, the top of it says Affidavit of Taylor Strombaum, right?
Yeah, it does.
If you flip to the last page, well, that's your signature, right?
Right.
You'd agree this is your affidavit.
Yeah.
Ma'am, if you flip to the last page, you say there, I swear or affirm the truthfulness of everything stated in this affidavit, right?
Yes, sir.
And you say that you were told that you should include everything you know that may be relevant to this case.
Yeah.
Ma'am, I want you to turn to the third page. Take a look at lines 75 through 84. Now, that's where you mentioned the sign-in sheet, right?
Yep.
Ma'am, that's where you say that you saw Skylar Sinclair sign the sign-in sheet, right?
Right?
That's also where you say you signed the sign-in sheet.
Yeah, I signed in right under Skylar.
Ma'am, nowhere in that paragraph do you say that you tried to copy the style of Skylar Sinclair's signature.
No, I didn't know it was relevant. I thought they just wanted to know about her signature, not mine.
Ma'am, nowhere in this entire document do you say that you tried to copy Skylar Sinclair's signature style.
No, like I said, I didn't know you needed to know.
No further questions, Your Honor.
All right.
May I retrieve?
Yes. Any further redirect?
No further redirect, Your Honor.
All right. Thank you, ma'am.
Would opposing counsel like me to take down the demonstrative?
Yes, we would, Your Honor.
All right.